This is Dr. Anna Camerali here, worried that you might think I've abandoned my one-shots. So just to reassure you, this vodka is going to see me through an extremely random summary of the plot of Eastward Ho, a collaboration by Jonson, Marston and Chapman, who all really should have stayed home that day. Here we go. Yummy. Now, this play is a city comedy, so that's something that Jonson wrote a million of. Shakespeare never really touched. The Merry Wives of Windsor is about the closest he got to that. And as you can see, Windsor, so not city. City comedy means it's about the heart of London where the merchants were. So we're talking very much about a merchant family here. And because of that, we are looking at a lot of commentary on class aspirations and class struggles. Now, that means that our pivotal character, if not the most crucial character, is a merchant called Touchstone. You can see the name. The whole thing is full of aptronyms. Everyone has aptronyms. They're all given names that are appropriate to who they are, including the suitor to Touchstone's more frivolous daughter, who is a Sir Petronel Flash. So yes, Blackadder with Sir Flashheart was not doing anything particularly original there. They've all got silly names. So Touchstone the merchant, he has a wife, he has two adult daughters, one of whom is vain, shallow, and cringingly social climbing and really annoying all the way through. The other one is Mildred. She is studious, industrious, knows her station, and is really boring. Likewise, he has two apprentices, strapping lads, Golding, the good boy who does everything he's told and again has no notions above his station or desires to do anything but serve, and Quicksilver, you see what they're doing with the names there, who has aspirations to be a gallant and is clearly on the prodigal son path from right at the beginning of the play. So first thing, we establish all these characters, and we also establish that Touchstone is willing for Golding to marry Mildred, and they seem perfectly happy with that idea in that very deferential, oh, well, if that's what you want for us, I will obey you in all duty way. So that's arranged first thing. Gertrude, on the other hand, has her eyes on a knight. She will have nothing but to be a lady. That is her aspiration, and she tells us that explicitly and repeatedly, and it's very, very apparent that this is going to end badly and is going to be a lesson to all girls with eyes above their station. Similarly with Quicksilver, by the second scene, he is showing up to work drunk and wearing inappropriate gallant's attire. There's a lot in this about class markers to do with how people dress. There were sumptuary laws at the time that told you exactly what you could and couldn't wear according to your station, and there are lots of people attempting to shatter those laws here. Now, we go on to meet the other crucial character in the play, who is a usurer called Security. Not very original here. Now, he has a pretty young wife called Winifred, which allows him to slot into that role of cuckold Pantalone figure with an uncontrollable, beautiful young wife. But he also has a person who seems to be a grown daughter, and she is oddly enough given the name Cindify. Now, Quicksilver wants to keep Cindify as a mistress, but they also plan to palm her off as a servant, a lady's maid, to Gertrude once Gertrude has married Flash, and therefore has ideas that she must have a lady's maid. So Security is the one who persuades both Quicksilver and later Sir Petronel Flash that the best bet for them is to persuade Gertrude to sign over her dowry property that comes with her in marriage to when she marries the knight, for sale. They're going to sell it, gain the quick cash, invest it in a ship that is going to get them to Virginia and fortune, hence the Eastward Ho. Yes, obviously Virginia is in the west, but you have to get out at Billingsgate and get out of London via an eastward journey if you want to make your fortune in that way. It is predictably a disaster. Let me fill in a little bit of the in-between times. Golding and Mildred get married. They're very happy about this. Mildred's mother and sister are phenomenally rude about the fact that the other daughter is marrying a mere apprentice while Gertrude is marrying a knight. Clearly we are being set up to see them come a cropper. And so they're married, they're taken care of, they're all right. Gertrude just gets more and more snobbish, more outrageously over the top. I'm a lady. And her new husband sends her off east again to find his castle, which doesn't actually exist. He sends her on a wild goose chase in a carriage with a footman to try and find his ancestral home. She comes back chastened and bedraggled. He and Quicksilver come back from their useless voyage that didn't even get as far as Greenwich, skint, chastened and bedraggled. Security has his subplot where he tries to set up a rival banker with to have his wife cuckolded, because it's actually Gertrude's new husband Flash who wants to cuckold Security by sneaking off with his wife to a tavern that keeps appearing throughout. The Blue, it's something blue. The tavern is something blue, and everyone nips off there to do nefarious things, including a meeting that Quicksilver and Flash have with a bunch of ruffians who claim they're going to sail them to Virginia, but we know how that works out. So Security does the usual thing where he panics that his wife is cheating on him. He goes off in search of her. He finds her, he accuses her, but she talks her way out of the situation, and he's terribly, terribly repentant, which is usually the arc of the cuckold story. And so we get to the point where all the schemes have collapsed, and everyone who had aspirations above their station, or greed, or lust, or any of the classic vices has had a good slap down, and they've all been arrested and thrown into debtor's nick. Now, at that point, everyone realizes that Touchstone, who we've largely forgotten about, is the only one who can save them here, because he is such a miser and so frugal and so hardworking and such a good merchant. He can actually bail them. He can afford, if he wishes, to bail them all out and set them all up and get everyone back to normal. And he says, absolutely not. I'm not going to go see them in the prison. So this is where Golding shows his true gold. Golding persuades the jailer, whose name is Wolf, which is not nearly as exciting as it sounds. There's lots of jokes about him being called Wolf, but basically being a good chap. Persuades Wolf to take his ring as surety and take it to his boss and say that he, Golding, has been arrested and thrown into the same prison because he trusts that his master will be so upset by that he will come down to the prison to try and release Golding, see everybody else's abject state, and be moved to rescue them. And that's basically what happens. Golding's ruse works. Touchstone is taken by Wolf down to the prison. Quicksilver, Sir Petronel Flash, Gertrude, everybody is really, really, really repentant of what idiots they've been. And Touchstone is so moved by their repentance that he bails everyone out and basically just says, let's all go home and be a family. And that actually includes Quicksilver is persuaded to marry Cinderfy instead of just keeping her as his bit on the side. And Petronelle is persuaded to give up whoring around and appreciate that he's got himself a lovely young wife. And everyone appreciates that Golding and Mildred are actually a model of an excellent couple. And so the reconciliation at the end is really just a matter of Touchstone going, okay, maybe I could not be such a skinflint, and I could expect that everyone would like to live a little bit comfortably, and I can do that. And everyone else saying, yes, we've seen the error of our way. We've seen how low we can sink when we aspire above our station, and we won't do that anymore. So everyone just reconciles and heads off to the city where merchants belong, and resolves to live happily ever after. And resolving to live happily ever after within your means is, well, it's not a very exciting moral, is it? But I don't think it can be faulted for realism and hopefulness. So the play has that going for it. Thank you very much. Good to be back.